Welcome, folks, to this week's edition of Tech Sales Advice. I am, of course, your host. Oh, wait a minute. It looks like I'm not sure if we're live or not.
I think we're
All right,
live.
I think we're live.
I see a countdown. Yeah.
Okay. Well, folks, welcome to this week's edition of Tech Sales Advice. I am, of course, your host, Chris White, and this is the LinkedIn Live program for technical sales professionals and technical sales leaders. And as I like to say, these conversations are by design, unscripted, unrehearsed, and unpredictable. These are live conversations. Incidentally, it's the day after Valentine's Day, so I'll wish everyone a slightly belated happy Valentine's Day. I hope you all enjoyed an evening. I'm excited for today's conversation. I'm joined today by a gentleman named Josh Fedie. He's someone whom I've gotten to know over the past few months. He's turned me on to not only a new technology, but frankly, a new way of engaging with prospects and customers. And he's opened my eyes to some of the challenges that we as sellers create for our buyers. And that's precisely what we're going to untangle a little bit. We're going to untangle this idea of how it is that we sort of complicate and clutter the buying experience for our prospects and customers, and what we can do to declutter the experience. But before we jump into it, Josh, welcome, my friend. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm great. It's an honor to be on here. And yeah, a couple of months ago was when we first met, right? And I think we're going to be friends for a while, Chris. I think we relate on a lot of things, so this is going to be good.
I have a feeling. I felt like almost instantly connected with you. Love what you speak about. I love the way you speak. I love your passion, and it is a thrill to have you on the show. By the way, folks, we don't see you out there, so if you do care to say hello, please feel free to do so. If you have any questions for Josh or myself, please feel free to ask. So Josh, and I don't even think I properly introduced you. He is the founder and CEO of a company called salesreach.io. You actually see it there on his name. But Josh, do you care to introduce yourself a little bit more broadly and talk a little bit about first your background and particularly in sales, and then what inspired you to launch Sales Reach?
Sure. And I'll try to keep this a shorter story. But I think it's a fun story.
Hey man, this is our LinkedIn Live. So
we can do whatever we want.
You just fire away.
Anyone that's watching this that knows me is probably just watching to see what kind of crazy thing I'm going to say. Because when I'm live and unscripted, it can get a little bit crazy. So watch out, Chris. But no, so the background, I've been in sales now for over 20 years of my life. Salespeople are the original entrepreneurs. All right. Salespeople are the original entrepreneurs. So I always had a very entrepreneurial spirit, and I just didn't like working for other people. I wasn't a great employee. So along the way, I ventured out, tried different things. I had a marketing agency for a while that was fun until it wasn't. And then my background was always in creative services. I love creative services. I love marketing. I love advertising. I love design. I love all of that stuff. But creative services, that journey kind of moved towards digital product development. And that was where I really actually started finding my passion. Because there's so much creativity that you can use when you're creating a brand new digital product. And at the time, it was for other people, right? Other people were giving us money to build digital products. But at a certain point, I sat back and thought, you know what? There are some challenges in this world that need to be solved for, and I think I should just build my own digital product. And so that's kind of the initial area that Sales Reach came from. Was I was sitting back looking at my own sales process. I was dissatisfied with how the conversations were going. The main thing at the time that was really setting me back was the fact that every time I'd have a conversation with somebody, it would end with, sounds great, send me information. The dreaded send me information. 65% of sales reps don't even know where to find information to share, according to a recent study, which is insane because this is all that I was ever asked. I'd go back to my computer, I'd load up an email with a whole bunch of documents and attachments. Those conversations would last 6 to 12 months before it went to the leadership team. And people were constantly asking me for more things. And then when they'd go to the leadership team, I'd always get the one I hated the most, which was, Hey, I could have sworn you sent me that one thing about that one thing, that one time. I can't find it. I'm about to talk to leadership in 10 minutes. Can you resend it? And I would always get so mad. And so originally the concept for this, I started building 15 years ago.
Wow.
I built it myself. It was my own sales tool when I owned my marketing agency. Rather than sending emails with a whole bunch of attachments, I was creating one-page websites. That's how this started. One-page websites for every customer that I was meeting with.
Wow.
And I would put all the information they needed from me on that site. That was not scalable because at the time, most sales professionals didn't have any idea how to code anything.
Right.
Which there's a funny story behind that. The whole reason I taught myself to code was because some guy wrote an article that said in the future, even salespeople will need to know how to code. And I was super offended by the way they said it. Right. And so I was like, screw this guy. I'm going to learn how to code.
So you were determined to prove that it could be done. Basically.
Because listen, Chris, we're in sales. How many times in your life in sales are you told you're in sales because you were too dumb to do something else? Like everyone in sales has had that conversation with somebody at some point. We got a chip on our shoulder about it. Right. So when you read an article that says even salespeople, it's like even cavemen, like what? I'm going to learn this. So that's how this started. I would build custom web pages for customers, put the materials they needed. I'd send them the link to that page and I'd say, share this with the team when you're ready, because I was just trying to get away from them asking me to resend stuff. That's it. Yeah. I didn't see a way to productize it. I didn't even see a vision for other people needing something like that at the time. But fast forward in my career, that's when I realized while I was working with HubSpot and taking some trainings on their CRM, that's when I realized that, there's a huge gap in the marketplace, and the challenges that are existing in the buyer's world right now could be solved by the thing that I had created. It just needed to be tweaked and modernized. So that's when I raised some money, hired a team, and we started building this thing. It was about 8-ish years ago that we started really talking about building this thing. It was about 7 years ago that we brought it to our first demo customers to pilot this thing out. So it's been a fun ride though, Chris, for sure.
It's amazing. There's so many things that I love about this story. But by the way, Josh, Vivian from Lagos, Nigeria has dialed in to say hello. Vivian, thank you so much for tuning in. It's good to see you.
Nice.
There's just so many things that I love about this. The first is the fact that this was just a frustration that you had as a sales professional. Right. And you were just and look, I can't tell you how many times I've received that email probably just in the past couple of years, right? Like, hey, Chris, could you send me that thing that you sent? And instantly I'm thinking, well, what was it that I sent? Right.
Can I even find it again?
Can I even find it? Right. And by the way, has it changed? Right. Is there new information? So, and the fact that you actually had the inspiration to create so I understand the motivation to learn how to code was to basically prove some guy who was insulting sales professionals wrong.
Yeah.
But what inspiration did you have to actually create a web page? Yeah. Like, to me, that's pretty advanced thinking, a decade ago for a quote, lowly sales professional.
Well, I mean, I would never self-proclaim myself to be an advanced thinker, but if you're going to say it, Chris, I'm just going to have to agree with you. No, honestly, it was just one of those things that to me, it just made so much sense. I had started learning how to code. And to be clear, I did not build the version of Sales Reach that exists today. I had no part in building that. I am not that good at web development, okay? But I had started learning how to play around with coding and web development. And it was just kind of becoming a passion of mine. It was just kind of in the off hours, I was actually making money doing it for people before I even started my agency, just building little things for them while I was even learning this stuff. Because it was still early enough on where sometimes people were asking their nephew in the parents' basement to like build them their company's website, right?
Right.
But I was constantly thinking about kind of like what's happening right now with AI. People that are obsessed with AI right now are constantly thinking about everything they're doing in their life and how could AI be applied to this to make it simpler. At that stage in my life, literally everything revolved around this new skill that I was learning and how could I apply that skill to other things that are frustrating in my life. And when you're in sales, everything's frustrating. Let's just be honest. So I was constantly thinking, how can I make this easier? When people just kept asking me for stuff, it just made perfect sense to me to just start putting it there. Yeah. But, it's interesting, right? Because buyers, they've changed so much since then. Okay. So, and I think that this is an important thing to call out, is that at the time when I first started iterating on this, the only way a buyer could get something for the most part was to ask a sales rep for it. Okay. Right. Websites weren't as advanced. Blogging wasn't as big of a deal at that time. I mean, it was decently a big deal, but like, buyers weren't really seeking out their own innovation, their own information at that time. That wasn't the norm.
Not nearly as much. 100%.
No.
Yeah.
And now we live in this Amazon world where everyone knows if I want something, all I got to do is type it into a search bar somewhere, and I'm going to find 15 different options for it, and I'm going to go research it on my own.
Instantly, right?
Yep. So it's a lot different now. The challenges then were that they needed information and you had to get the information to them. The challenge today is actually the opposite. The challenge today is there's too much information out there. They might be getting some from a sales rep. However, they do not want to talk to a sales rep, not until they've done 80% of the research on their own. Okay. We have less than 3% of the time that we used to have in every conversation we have with someone to land a deal, because when there's 20% left, you got to divide that across all the competitors they're also talking to. So they're identifying their own information. They are finding their own resources. They are trying to self-educate as much as they can because they are just terrified to talk to salespeople, because they know the second they talk to us, we're going to work our witchcraft and we're going to make them spend 4 times as much as they thought they were going to have to. Right. So they don't want to talk to us. So they're gathering information. Then they do have to talk to us. We're the gatekeeper today. We used to have to try to get through the gatekeeper on cold calls, right? The front desk, like, oh yeah, hey, can I talk to Chris White? Well, who is this? This is Josh Fedie. Well, is he expecting your call? He might be. I don't know. Right? Okay. Now we're the gatekeeper though of the agreement. They cannot move forward with our company unless they talk to us, because we're the ones that are going to put together the thing they got to sign to move forward. Right? Right. When they do talk to us, we're going to give them more information. And now they just have this stack of stuff that they're looking at from us, from vendor A, from vendor B, from vendor C, from vendor D. They're trying to make sense of it. They're trying to find anything that resonates with them. They're trying to decide, how the heck am I going to tell this story to the team of potentially 14 people that need to review this to decide we're going to move forward. Yeah. And by the way, if I'm the person organizing all this information and making the decision who we're moving forward with, or at least making my recommendation, I'm putting my neck on the line for this. Do I understand this enough to put my neck on the line for this? And what we're seeing, the studies that were coming out, even like 4 or 5 years ago, and they're still coming out, is that with all of this information that everybody has, they are so confused. They can't make sense of the deal. They can't tell the difference between vendor A and vendor B. They can't even tell the difference between just sticking with the devil that they know, which is some antiquated system that hasn't been serving them well, or even the lack of a system that serves them at all, right? They just can't even see the difference. So what they're doing is not moving forward at all, A, or B, dipping their toe in the water, right? Hey, Chris, you know what? It makes perfect sense. Trust me, it makes perfect sense. But we're kind of feeling a little uneasy about going all in with this. So tell you what, instead of the $100,000, let's just do the $20,000, right? I mean, like, these are the conversations that reps are having every single day right now, right? And then we have to fight to like get them back up to what we originally knew they needed, right? After we gain the trust, they've signed on the dotted line, we have to fight. But that is where the information has kind of shifted. Buyers want it themselves. They need it organized though. And that's the thing that I try to really preach, is that we can't just be another person sending them a disorganized, chaotic sales process mess. The second we organize it, the second we put it in a way where they can easily review it, easily share it, easily make sense of it, that is when we differentiate ourselves from literally every other person that they're talking to. And if they feel that we are more knowledgeable and helpful, and we are the ones that they understand the complex deal with better than the rest, I don't think price matters so much anymore. right? They're not going to be looking at the other vendors going, yeah, but they're 30,000 cheaper. Yeah, but you don't understand how they're going to actually deliver, right?
Yeah.
So let's go with this one that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I preach a more organized sales process is the way forward today.
Yeah. Well, and we're using the word sales process, but really it's a more organized buyer's experience, right? It's a more organized, buyer enablement is becoming sort of a very common term, or at least a term that people are kicking around. I know it's a term that you embrace a great deal. And what I hear you saying is, look, let's differentiate based on the buyer's experience working with us, right? Make it a smooth process, a smooth transition, give them the information they need, help them cut through the noise so that they can make it the best decision for themselves.
Yeah.
It's really what we're talking about here.
That's all it is.
Now let's, because my audience, I speak and I work with a lot of technical sales professionals, pre-sales, solution engineers, solution architects, and teams that have SEs and AEs working together, and CSEs and CSMs.
Right.
It seems to me
so many letters, Chris. Yeah.
Right? It's alphabet soup. So it seems pretty logical to me that this problem gets much worse when we have multiple people involved in the sales process. And is that a true statement?
Yeah. Why would that be, Chris?
I can't imagine.
Have you ever heard the saying, too many cooks in the kitchen? Have you heard that saying? Yeah.
Yes. That's why I tell my wife to stay out of the kitchen.
And I'm totally kidding, right? There's a reason that saying exists. There's so many aspects in our life where there's just too many cooks in the kitchen, right?
Yep.
Without question, though, in a B2B sale, there are always too many cooks in the kitchen. Now, on the seller side, yes, you have the BDR that schedules the meeting and pre-qualifies. Sure, you got the AE that actually starts walking them through and identifying and moving towards the contract. That's when you start bringing in the other teams. The solutions engineer in many organizations is going to jump in there and work right alongside. Pre-sales might be there as well, right? You might have some members of the project management team that jump in a little bit early. You might have people from the marketing department that start jumping in to start lending an assist to sales if they're an advanced enough company to understand that marketing should be helping sales along the journey, right? There's not enough of those right now, but that's a whole different soapbox that I'm not going to get on right now. But regardless, that's just on the sales side. Oh, by the way, the CEO of the sales side's company is probably going to intervene at some point after everyone's already done a whole bunch of stuff and drop an entire bomb in the middle of it, and you're going to have to redo everything you did. But it's fine, okay? Then you got to go to the company. Then they got 14 people on their side. It's a lot of people looking at a lot of things. There's a lot of opportunities for things to get lost in translation. But I think that the thing that I was noticing the most is that if you're not, I should say, number one, the collaboration is insanely important. Okay. The collaboration is insanely important.
Sales is a team sport.
It is a team sport. And I mean, I don't want this to be an advertorial thing for Sales Reach, but what I will say is that one of the things that we made really sure of while we were first documenting what we were going to build and what it was going to one day become, right on day one when we were talking about it, it was, listen, this can't be just a tool that a salesperson uses. This has to be a tool that an entire team can collaborate within with their customers, because there's a lot of different people that are going to need to have sight on what is happening here. And there's always the opportunity for a solutions engineer to jump in on one of these deals that a rep has set up in our system and maybe add additional materials to the page, or maybe put some questions out to the receiving party while they're trying to plot the next steps out. It is a collaborative sport. Okay. So that piece is really, really important. But outside of that, when you think about all those people, something different is going to resonate with everybody. Things are going to get lost if they're not organized and categorized and placed in a simple location, right? And so what's important about our platform, or thinking about this concept of organizing a sale, is it's more than just making sure that you're sending things in an organized way. It's making sure that they are only accessing the things they still need. Because as you transition through the conversation, there will become things that were critical for the first conversation that are totally unnecessary on the 10th conversation.
Love that.
And more information is always a bad thing. Always. I try to coach all of my customers on the idea of when you create this portal for your customer and you're bringing them the resources that they need through that, make sure that you're asking them the questions, is this still valuable to you? When you go to the next people, are they going to find value in this being here, or should we just get rid of this entirely, right? Because otherwise, the first time someone sees the page, if there's 80 things on that page, it's going to be fight or flight, and they're going to get the heck out of there. This is too much information on this page. How am I supposed to start using this? Let's try to whittle it down to specifically what the groups in the conversation right now need from you. And honestly, sometimes that requires creating multiple different pages in a platform like ours, right? If you're looking at digital sales rooms, I don't always say that one page should be all you ever send. If there's a huge review team, there's going to be some people that need certain information, other people that might need other information. Maybe you're making multiple destinations for different individuals with different information that's more tailored specifically to them. Ultimately, what this really comes down to is the difference between sales enablement and buyer enablement, Chris, right? You mentioned the word buyer enablement. Some of the people listening might be like, what the heck is buyer enablement? I doubt it at this point. When I first started building this product, no one was talking about buyer enablement. It wasn't in the vernacular of anybody, right? But there's a big difference between sales enablement and buyer enablement. And I think this is important for a sales professional or anyone in a customer-facing role to understand, because we say that the number one skill of sales professionals is empathy. That's what we say. But I'm calling BS on that sometimes, Chris. Seriously. Because if you are truly empathetic, but you're sending a whole bunch of garbage over long sales cycles that's totally disorganized, and you're expecting them to do your dirty work for you and organize it and reposition it and communicate it to their team and do all that work for you, you are not an empathetic human being. You are not the most important person they've talked to this month. You are not the most important person they've talked to this year. Whatever you're talking to them about is in a stack this big of important things that they need to eventually get to, and it might eventually get to the top of the list, but it's probably somewhere down here, and it's probably going to keep going down because they're going to keep adding more important things to it. You need to make this easy for them. You need to do that work for them. You need to understand that these are busy individuals with other things on their plate, right? So that part of it is really, really important. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent there, Chris. I apologize. That's just what I do.
Dude, I love I love your energy, and I love your perspective on this. And again, I'll sort of repeat some of what I think I'm hearing is that, look, this is not just about making it easy for our buyers, and that is a part of it, right? It's not just about decluttering the experience. It's really about being, and there's a term that you may recall this. I work with an organization called Aslan Training and Development, and one of the philosophies that we talk about, the sales philosophies it's a philosophy and a mindset, is what we call other-centered selling. And what's other-centered selling? It's the opposite of self-centered selling.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And as you were saying, if I'm fully honest with myself and I look myself in the mirror, here's what I know about myself. And if you're a sales professional out there, you probably, if you're fully honest with yourself, can admit this too. We are naturally lazy.
Yeah. Oh boy.
We are naturally just going to want to just keep sending whatever it is that happens to be at our fingertips to sort of keep the deal rolling. And we don't want to have to put forth the effort if we don't have to, right? But what you're saying is that, look, if you really do care, now, of course, we all care about closing the deal. I mean, of course, we all care about hitting our quota and getting our commission. But if we really care about the customer, and we really care about helping them make the best decision, then we are going to do everything we can to make it as easy as possible and help them avoid the confusion and clutter. And that's really what we're talking about here.
Yep. And honestly, I mean, I know we're aligned on this, but I've been selling Sales Reach now for 6+ years. And it's amazing to me when I will get this into an organization, there's always the early adopters, right? There's always the hustler in the office that's staying up on modern technology, that's been reading articles, that understands the challenges for their customers, and they are actively trying to sell for it. And they're willing to embrace things like video, right? Video is a huge part of our platform. Video is an incredible tool in sales right now. Incredible tool for guiding your prospects. They're willing to use it. There's always the early adopters, but there is always a higher percentage of naysayers. There is always a higher percentage of people that just look at stuff like this and go, nah, what I've been doing is fine. What I've been doing is fine. And they can't get out of their own way. And this is part of the problem that I believe we are seeing so many organizations reporting that reps are not meeting quota. I mean, the percentages of reps meeting quota right now are so abysmal. And, you know, this is a byproduct of, like you said, Chris, these are not my words. I'm not going to die on this one, but this is our own fault for being lazy. It really is. We have become lazy because of automation. We have become lazy because of things like sequences from our CRM, automations from our CRM. Our marketing team sets up all this stuff for us. They got the set it and forget it button. Someone comes to the website and all these emails are going out, and eventually we're knocking on the marketing's door and we're angrily saying, hey, where's the good leads? Where's the good leads? No. This is not how sales works. This is not how sales has ever worked. I mean, it worked for a brief moment of time before people realized that all this spammy email was just spammy email. It was the same to everybody. It's not personal. It shouldn't make you feel good that you received this email, right? So we need to get back to a more human-based, a more human-centric approach to our efforts. I'm a big proponent of do less, but do it in a more meaningful way, and you will find better results from it. I don't like seeing people send 1,000 emails a day. Personally, I don't like seeing people make 100 cold calls a day. I know there's going to be some people that disagree with me on this, but I just don't like seeing it. Yeah. What I would rather have a rep do is sit down, identify 20 individuals where there's an actual need and an alignment to help them, and to strategically engage with them in a human and meaningful way every single day. I believe that will result in more revenue than any million-plus sequenced email automation system ever would. That's what I believe, right? But I think that the problem with this, Chris, is that not everybody's on board with that philosophy right now, because it's too easy to hit the button and just let it go on autopilot, right? Yeah. And it's affecting everyone in sales right now. This is why everybody's afraid to talk to us, because most people assume that no matter what they receive in their inbox, it's spam. That's what they assume. You have to work extra hard for them to even realize that you actually took the time to make this for them, okay? And so one of my favorite things to do, I had kind of said it a little bit ago, was video, right? Video is very powerful in sales. Very, very, very powerful in sales. I put a post up just yesterday on LinkedIn about this. So if anybody's interested in video and sales, I talk about different ways you can use video, but I think a lot of people confuse video with cold outreach tactics, right? Oh man, video is going to be amazing for cold outreach. Sure. That's fine. Like, put it in your email. It takes 9 touch points to get someone to respond on average right now. So it should be part of your cadence without question. But for some people, they're going to see the video and be blown away. Oh my God, they made a video for me. I'm going to schedule a meeting right now. For other people, it's just another tchotchke that they ignore until they have had enough touch points to finally respond, right? Put a video in your email sequences. That's fine. But what I love to do, LinkedIn, send people connection requests with video, right? Introduce yourself in the connection request, right? It's a great way to just humanize everything, because again, we're just programmed to think that everything's automated. But then beyond that, everybody needs to, if you're going to start using video, I'm not the person that invented this, but I grabbed onto it and I will never let go of it.
Are you going to hold up a paddle?
Yeah,
there it is.
Chris,
I'm going widescreen. Yeah.
I'll go to Whole Foods and forget my wallet, but I'm never without one of these stupid signs, right?
I love it.
Anytime you're having a conversation with somebody, you need to make a video for them, and you need to put their name in that video, and that video, that name needs to show up right in the beginning of the video. Why? Because they're assuming this is a generic video that is impersonal and does not apply to them, and it can wait. But the second they see their own name on it, they go, wait a minute now. Oh, wait. Chris recorded a video for me? And I know there's people listening right now that are going, there's no way I'm recording videos. I don't want to record videos, right? The number one reason people don't want to record videos is because they're self-conscious about recording the videos. This is what I've learned. They're self-conscious. Why are they self-conscious? They see themselves in the reflection and they start analyzing every little thing about themselves. I can promise you, if I actually did that, I would never put myself on camera. Okay.
Amen.
I would never do it.
I'm still not comfortable with it, but yet I do this stuff all the time, and you just learn to get over it.
Here's the thing. Number one, don't look at your reflection. Look at your camera. If you look at your camera, I mean, look, my blurred out self that I'm not actually focusing on could be Brad Pitt for all I know at this point, right? Look at your camera. Don't look at yourself. You're going to judge yourself too much. But then when you do record the video, you're going to play it back. You're going to listen to it. You know, everybody does this in the beginning. I'm at the point now, I just don't even care. Like, I just hit record, make the video, send it off. I know that they're going to enjoy the fact that I'm narrating this process for them and making it simpler to understand the things I'm sending to them with the video. That's what it's there for. But I'll never forget when I first started using video, I was rewatching one of the videos that I made. And I was so self-conscious about it, right? My glasses are crooked. Why? Because one of my ears is slightly higher than the other ear. Nothing I can do about that. My nostrils are different sizes. This was driving me nuts. I'm like, well, how can I change any of this? Do I need to see a plastic surgeon? Like, I need to change the size of my left nostril. I need to pivot my ear so it's lower so my glasses aren't crooked. People watching right now are like, oh my God, his glasses are crooked. This is obnoxious, right? Your glasses are probably crooked too. Everyone watches glasses are crooked.
They are.
It's just the way it works. We're humans. We're not perfectly symmetrical. Get over it. Once you get over that, it becomes such an easy thing to use. And I promise you, once you get good at it, and that's the operative word, once you get good at it, your customers are going to love it because using it throughout the entire engagement with a customer, using it to recap the meeting that you just had, explain what's going to happen next, help guide them through the resources that you're sending to them, help educate, elaborate how they can bring this information to their team, right? The video on our platform is intentionally on the same page as the resources. Why? Because I want everything in one place. I don't want people getting an email with a video and then an email with documents. I want people getting one email with one link to one page with everything they need, including the video, right? It's very, very powerful. And then use it after the sale. Customers all the time are asking, how do I do X, Y, and Z with this thing that I just bought from you that cost me a whole bunch of money? Make them a quick video, explain it to them. Once you get good at it, they love it. And this will be the last quick point I make before I give you back control of the microphone, Chris. There is nothing more uncomfortable than receiving a personal video from someone that is very clearly uncomfortable making the video.
That's really good.
I think this is a really important thing.
Really good.
People need to be really self-aware with this stuff. I've coached a lot of people on using video. And I see the videos early on when they start using my platform, they start recording their first videos. They don't even wave at the beginning of the video. They don't smile at the beginning of the video. It's a very dry delivery. They don't look at the camera. That's the biggest problem. They don't look at the camera. They look at themselves. Right now, I'm looking at myself. Chris, am I looking at you?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
Does it feel special? Does it feel like I'm having a conversation with you right now?
No, it feels like you're having a conversation with somebody else.
It does. Now, does this feel like I'm having a conversation with you?
100%.
There were studies recently during COVID when everybody was virtual. They were saying that one of the reasons that it was hard for people in business development roles to build trust is because they were looking at themselves in the reflection of their video calls. When people don't make eye-to-eye contact, we are programmed to not trust the person that's not looking us in the eyes. That's how humans are programmed.
Yeah.
So you need to look at it. So anyway, get comfortable on video. Give yourself 20 videos to get comfortable on it. Now, if after that, you just aren't the type of person that can deliver in video, you don't, it's just not in your nature, and that's fine. Then get out of the way with that. Try to find other ways to effectively communicate. In my platform, you can always record audio messages. But one of the other things that I always advocate for people is find someone else in the office that, this is a team sport. We talked about this earlier. Find someone else that's on the sales team with you on this deal that is good on video. Let them be the person that makes those videos for the communications. But don't dismiss video entirely, because if the video is delivered well, it's going to help your customer to understand the complexities of the deal, to better explain it to everybody else. By the way, your video can explain it to everyone else because they can just share the video with everyone else. Okay. It's going to help you land the deal faster. All right, Chris, I'm going to give it back to you for a bit.
Man, you said so many things. I'm having a hard time taking inventory on all the thoughts that I had.
That's my ADHD. I'm sorry, Chris.
That's quite okay. Josh, why don't we do this? First of all, I'm going to push our own pause button.
Yeah.
And welcome anybody who may have joined in the last 10 or 15 minutes. I'm speaking with Josh Fedie. He's the founder and CEO of salesreach.io. There were a few people that chimed in with a few comments. Jason, yes, Josh definitely, he's passionate about cleaning up the mess. Harris, Rico, I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
He made a comment about the team, and then we had another LinkedIn user. We don't see who said
I need to know who this LinkedIn user is. If I'm not connected to this LinkedIn user, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. But I have a feeling this is probably a customer that's helping me out here. But
might be a raving fan. We're talking about, quote, decluttering the sales process, but really decluttering the buyer's journey, the buyer's experience. And this falls into what's becoming a reasonably broad category called buyer enablement. And we were talking about, you used the term digital sales room. I think that's sort of an official term that I think the industry is using for this. But what it's really all about is, first of all, using technology that's available to us to organize the information, the process, the exchange with buyers, help them avoid the confusion that is so prevalent when they're trying to make. And by the way, we sell for a living. I say this to everybody I work with. We sell for a living. The people that we're selling to don't buy for a living.
No.
Right?
No.
This is not what they do. It is what we do. It's not what they do. So the more that we can help them, and then we talked about the fact that, look, it's actually demonstrating empathy. It's actually demonstrating care. Like, we understand how confusing this can be, and we're simply just trying to make this easier for you. Might be a little more effort on us, but let us take that burden. And then the other thing that we spent a fair amount of time talking about is the importance of video. And what I really hear coming through, Josh, is that it elevates the authenticity of every stage of the process, whether it's flat out cold outreach or follow up after a meeting, maybe in preparation for some sort of meeting or presentation or proof of concept. Yeah. It humanizes the entire experience. And I think that point cannot be overstated. And you're right. Get over it, folks. Nobody likes the way they look on video. No, well, maybe some people do. I certainly don't love the way I look on video, the way I sound on video, but it really does. It humanizes the experience. And that's really what we're talking about.
I mean, when I look back at some of the early videos from starting this company versus now, you wouldn't believe how much more gray my beard is, right? I still don't let it stop me. Right, Chris? I mean, I don't. You know what? You had mentioned one thing in there that I think is also really important to point out. You said buyers don't buy for a living. Right? Yeah. And it's true, but here's what I always like to look at as well. How many people in a sales position have ever actually had to be on the buyer's side of the conversation? It's a very small percentage. It's a very small percentage. And I think that that's why it's so hard for people that are in sales to truly empathize and understand how what those people on the buying side are actually going through, because they think they understand buying committees. They think they understand what's happening, but there are a lot of conversations that they are not a part of at all. And so one of the things that I advocate for, one of the first conversations or first messages that came in the chat was somebody looking to get into tech sales. For anyone that is in tech sales or looking to get into tech sales, when you do get into tech sales, one of the first things that I always encourage people to do is to just ask some of the people in the C-suite, hey, next time you're making a purchasing decision in this organization, Would you mind if I do a ride along on that with you? Right? So, marketing teams used to do this with salespeople pre-COVID when we'd have a lot of in-person meetings. Sometimes a marketing person would jump in the car with the sales rep and go around for the day and go into the meetings and hear the customer's voice firsthand. It was an important thing. It still is. The ride along for marketing has kind of turned into a digital thing where now sometimes marketing will join Zoom meetings and things like that to hear the voice of the customer. Yeah. But let's try to do a ride along in buying as well, because if you can sit there with your team and review products that your company is looking to purchase, you're going to see firsthand, when that person delivered it this way, our team responded in this way. Maybe I should do more of that in my efforts as well. Or you know what? When we got off the call, I thought what they said was funny, but actually my entire team was like ripping on them. And like, that's the reason. Oh yeah. I didn't mean to do a thumbs up
that's
there.
That's right. You've got the new, I think I've got it too.
I didn't turn it off because I've got a surprise for you. I got another talking point for you later, but this is an important thing. If you can align with your C-suite to do just a little bit of this, it will help everybody to better understand what they're going through. The other thing I would throw out there, let me see if this will actually publish. Oh, nope, it won't post. My comment won't post because it has a link in it. So here's what I'll do. I'll hold up this QR code here.
There you go.
Anyone watching this, they can just scan this. And this is going to go to a page that I built on my platform. So you can see firsthand what a digital sales room looks like. But the reason I want you to go to this also is at the bottom of that page, there is an article by Gartner. It's in the section I've called Buyer Enablement. It's the first article that comes up. That's the article that I want everyone to read immediately after this call. It's a couple years old now, but it doesn't matter because it was so far ahead of its time that people still aren't taking heed. That is the article where I first saw the term buyer enablement. It was 2 years after we started building this product. We had no idea what to call this thing. And I came across that article and immediately it was a light bulb moment. That's it right there. That's what we're doing, right?
Love that.
It's a big difference. Sales enablement is one thing. Buyer enablement is another thing. Here's the difference. Sales enablement are tools that help you as a seller to perform better, to move faster, and to communicate internally better. Did any of the things that I just said make your customer feel any better other than maybe your speed of service? No.
Zero.
Doesn't. Super self-serving. But wait a minute, Josh, we're empathetic humans. We're in sales. Empathy is our number one skill. Okay. Then we need to start thinking about buyer enablement. What is buyer enablement? Buyer enablement is tools and processes that are put together to make your customer's life easier. Now, do the tools also make your life easier? Yes. If they're designed properly, they should. But the ultimate goal of a buyer enablement product is to make your buyer's life easy. Now, funny thing, if you were to search for sales enablement products on the market or search for buyer enablement products on the market, you're going to get far less buyer enablement products. I mean, there are hundreds of sales enablement products on the market. There's like tens of buyer enablement products on the market, right? So it's something that we need to be thinking about. It's unfortunately something that not enough people are thinking about. But I do think with how buyer preferences have changed, we need to think about this. We need to stop putting these conversations on the back burner. We need to stop forcing people to buy the way we want to sell. That's what we all keep trying to do. It's like, this has worked for 15 years. This is how people buy from us. This is how we sell. This is how they're going to get it. If they want it from me, this is how they're going to get it. No, the buyer has all the control now. There is too much information and there are too many options for everything out there. And if you do not equip them to buy the way they want to buy, they're going to buy from somebody else. That's it. There's another soapbox for you. But
or not buy at all.
Or not buy at all. If every vendor that they reach out to gives them this chaos that they can't make sense of, they're just not going to do anything.
They're going to give up. Yeah. They're going to give up.
They're not dying. They're just looking for better ways to do things. But if you make it impossible, forget it. Do you know how many times people complain when they go to a website and they fill out a chatbot and somebody doesn't respond to them within 3 minutes? They start complaining, right? Yeah. I've had people visit my website. I see the chat come through. I get an alert, but I'm on a call with somebody or I'm on a demo with somebody or whatever, and I can't literally respond that second. Within 5 minutes, it'll be the same person logged in and they will be cursing out the chatbot. I'm going to talk to an effing salesperson right now. They'll say this on the chatbot. I'm watching this stuff come through and I'll like type in, I'll be like, hey, this is Josh. I'm the CEO. Like, it's okay. I'm going to reach out to you very soon. People want immediate. If you don't respond within 5 minutes of an inquiry, do you know what the stat is? You're 90% more likely to lose the deal. That's how impatient people are. That's why web developers always talk about the speed of page load being so important. Because if you try to go to a website and it takes more than 3 seconds to load,
get it. Yeah.
You go, forget it. I'm going to go somewhere else.
It's already on to something else.
It's broken. It's a broken website. I'm not going to this. Anyway.
Yeah. Folks, I'm speaking with Josh Fedie. He is the founder and CEO of a company called salesreach.io. He has a platform, and they sell a platform that if it lives in this digital sales room space, but it's really a buyer enablement platform, and sales organizations and sellers are using it literally to declutter the buying experience. We've talked a lot about video and how video really elevates the authenticity with which we can communicate with prospects and with customers. Josh, I'm inspired to just share a few comments. Benjamin Liu, I hope I'm saying that correctly, loves a comment about buyers don't buy for a living. Exactly. And Josh, someone named Toby wants to connect. So
that's my hot lead. Toby, I'm on the call right now. Just send me a connection request right now and let's make this happen. Otherwise, like I said, here's the page. There's a link to my calendar right on that page. Grab some time with me. Let's talk about this stuff.
Indeed. You will not regret it. For sure. Successful buyer enablement strategies focus on delivering value to buyers rather than solely focusing on closed deals. We don't see who said that, but couldn't agree more. Josh, there was another thought that came to mind for me when we were talking about this notion of video and the difficulty that people have with video and being authentic. And you mentioned in fact, you challenged our listeners to, just try it 20 times or create 20 videos. But the other thought that came to me, and I'm curious to see if this resonates with you or if you have any similar tricks. I think the more that we recognize and are intentional with the idea that the other person that we're creating this video for is an actual person and not just a role at a company. And the more we can imagine the person sitting in his or her office, receiving this on his or her laptop or phone. And to me, that personalizes it that much more. And to me, this really is sort of, and I talked about the other centered selling. It really is the heart of what we talk about, is that look, at the end of the day, and you said this, I love this. Look, at the end of the day, we are not likely to be their highest priority for the day, the week, the month, or the year, right? Number one. Number two, they're talking to lots of other people. And by the way, work might not even be their top priority in that moment, right? So the more we can remember that, look, everybody we're reaching out to, they have partners or spouses or kids or pets or houses or washing machines that don't work and refrigerators that need repair, and right. The more we can humanize the sales experience, the more likely A, we are to get engagement and hit our numbers, but B, enjoy our job. That much more. And I think that's a big part of what we're talking about here.
I think that you're spot on. And I think that one of my favorite byproducts of using video more is that I have found that more of my customers are the type of people I actually wanted to work with. Okay.
Man, that is so good.
When COVID first hit, it felt like, I was having these meetings with people. They didn't want to use video so much in the meetings. I would talk to a lot of black screens. Right? Like people would just leave the video player off, and it was hard to get to know people. It was hard to read them. It was hard to deliver a proper demonstration because I couldn't really read the room. The room's lights were off, right? And some of those deals just ended up being the type of people that it just wasn't a great fit. When I'm using more video, the people that respond to me in a favorable way end up just being more my type of people. And the byproduct of that as well is that those customers tend to stick with me longer because they like me. And they like me enough where they, even if the team starts to kind of fall off, they start to advocate for better usage to make sure that this is a product that they continue to be able to leverage and license year after year, right? So yeah, finding more people that are more like-minded, people that you're going to enjoy working with more, yeah, it just makes working that much more fun, right? And I'm all about fun. I've always said, if it's not fun, I'm done.
Forget it.
I'm done. I'm famous for just walking out on stuff, right? I mean, the other day I was at a museum on a field trip and with my wife and kids. Eventually my wife starts texting me. She's like, where the heck are you? And I just wasn't having fun. So I just disappeared. I was like, I'm going to go, I'll stay in the museum, but I'm not having fun in this environment right now. So I'm going to go way on the other side where I can just be in my own head, right? And think about something else, right? That's the way I am. So let's just keep it fun. Let's work alongside more people and let's give people more reasons to treat us like human. I think that's the other byproduct of it, Chris. I go out of my way to treat my customers and my prospects with as much respect as I possibly can. It's just the way I've been taught in sales. It's just respect. But I will say I've been noticing a disturbing trend. I don't know if it's just that I've been in sales too long and it's starting to wear on me more, or if there is a shift, but I am seeing so much less respect coming back to the seller from the buyer these days. I'm seeing a lot of disrespect. When you spend an hour to 3 hours demonstrating your product, meeting with another company, having follow-on meetings and conversations and, last minute scrambled calls at 7:00 that you respond to immediately and you give them insane service and everybody's happy and everybody's jovial and everybody's talking about how they want to move forward. And then they ghost you completely. It happens. I don't really know why. I don't really know what's going on right now where there just seems to not be a reciprocal respect happening. And all I can say is that I'm going to blame it on all of the spammy stuff that we've all been doing in sales for too long. I think that buyers have just kind of been programmed to just, oh, it's just another salesperson. Oh, it's, they're just soliciting whatever. But you know what? Like when that happens, I just write it off. In my platform, when I get ghosted by somebody, I literally turn the page off. I turn it off. Why do I turn it off? Because I gave you the respect to respond to you the second you reached out to me, every time you reached out to me. Every time you asked for something, I gave it to you, and I delivered it in a way where you could make sense of it. I held your hand through this entire thing. I was super respectful of this process. And then you disappeared on me. You told me you were going to have a decision in a week, and 2 months has gone by, and I can't get a response on any emails from you. I'm turning off the page. And when I do that, I have a default link that it sends people to. It's literally just a video that says, hey, where the heck did you go? We were having a great conversation. You disappeared. So I turned off your page. If you want to have a conversation, grab more time with me right off this page. That's all they get. I'm not going to let you keep having access to this stuff. I'm not going to let you review this for 9 months while you avoid me. That's not the way this works. If I'm going to truly help you through this buyer's journey, you need to allow me to help you through this buyer's journey. You need to let me be there to be your guide. You need to stop trying to figure things out on your own. And we need to somehow teach the rest of the sales world to stop being so pushy and to stop focusing just on the quota and to start being empathetic so that when you're actually trying to be helpful, people allow you to be helpful because they literally just do not by and large right now.
Yeah. So well said.
Are you seeing that too, Chris, or am I alone? I don't know.
No, I see it all the time. And frankly, I think it may be the biggest challenge in sales. We are guilty by association with all the people that do nothing but run around with commission breath and push themselves on all the people that they're trying to push themselves on and push their products. And look, people are tired of it. People look, and by the way, I'm no different, Josh. I mean, you're a business owner just like me. How many emails a day do you get from somebody trying to push something on you? And it's and those are, by the way, just the emails that actually get through. right? I'm not talking about the other 30 or so a day that the junk box catches, right? The junk folder catches, right? And this profession, we have hurt ourselves by thinking that the right way to generate pipeline is to just hammer people ad nauseum, right? And so as a result, I do think that if we get ghosted, and it is a shame. It's a shame, particularly if you've established some rapport and you've had some good conversations. It's a shame that people would think it's okay to ghost an actual individual who's clearly made an effort to invest in them and their best interests. But I do think that it's just the result of all the other bad actors that are in our space that have just given us a bad name. So
that's what it is.
And again, this is, what I love about what you're saying is look, if you don't want to work with me, then fine. We'll shut down the page and I'll just move on.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Probably the worst. I think there's nothing that's less appealing or attractive than a desperate sales professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And that's really what, by the way, Chris, I hope I'm saying this right. Christina McMillan says, dehumanizing makes you memorable. No point being a subject matter expert if no one remembers you to call.
There's a blast from my past right there. I haven't seen her in probably 5 years in real life. So that's a great individual right there. That's a super smart individual right there.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Well, Christina, thanks for tuning in. Yeah. The other thought that I had, there was another thought that I had that was real. Oh, the other thing, and by the way, and I told you, Josh, we're going to be, so we've been out there. The clock says 56 minutes. So
good for us.
We are at this point, I think the landing gear is out, the runway is in sight, and we're going to land this plane here in just a minute. The time's gone by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people make purchase decisions emotionally and they justify with logic. Yep. Right. And I absolutely love what you said about what I've discovered in using video is that I'm working with prospects who seem to be connected or like there's a certain chemistry there with the people that I'm working, and no surprise, to your point, look, if you see me on video in my authentic self and like I just rub you the wrong way, then honestly, I don't know if I want to do business with you.
You're never going to be.
It makes sense. Like I'd rather not waste my time with someone that I annoy for whatever reason, and I'm okay with that.
Chris, this is why I love owning a business more than any reason, is that I can be myself and I don't have to worry that somebody above me is going to tell me that I need to act differently, right? I am the same person right now as I am anywhere, except for I'm typically quieter. I'm typically quieter when I'm home because I like to just kind of come back down from this, right? Because I got to be a performer.
We're on stage all day long. Yeah.
Yep. But what I would say is, here's a perfect example. I think this is a good, funny story to wrap this up with. This is proof that sometimes literally just allowing yourself to be yourself is the best way to move forward. And this is part of why I love video too, because it gives you a glimpse of the prospect that you're talking to. It gives you a glimpse of their life as well. I was on a new business presentation. There were about 8 people from the company that scheduled the meeting with me on the call at the same time. It was the entire C-suite and the head of marketing and the head of sales on this call. Big company. They're all working from their own home office through the whole call. And I could tell, this call was going really well. They were laughing at my jokes. They all had their cameras on, so I could see that they were all enjoying the candor, okay? So I knew that I could just continue to be myself. And sometimes when that happens, I get a little carried away. Okay. I have a hard time filtering myself when I get a little carried away. We're getting towards the end.
Butter me, I'm on a roll.
I know. We're getting towards the end of the call, and I've probably told 50 jokes, and they've all landed really well, and I'm really arrogant at this point, and I'm ready for more jokes. Well, the CFO of the company is on the call, and in the background, I see a person walk into the room wearing a black and white striped shirt and a giant, like, gardening hat, okay?
Okay.
And I said, without even thinking, oh, watch out, the Hamburglar's coming to get you. That's what I said out loud to the entire C-suite. And immediately, my heart sunk in my chest because I was like, oh my God. Because the CFO responds, that's my wife. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, that's how you lose a good deal, fellas, right there.
Yeah.
True story, though. True story. The next morning, I get an email from the head of marketing. Send us an agreement for 40 seats. By the way, you are legend in our company. That Hamburglar comment has us rolling still. No joke. No joke.
That's a great story.
I thought for sure this deal's dead. I'm going to get blasted. Nobody will ever work with me again. Yep. Yeah. I totally stepped across the line. What the heck was I thinking? That was super rude. What was I thinking? But she was blurred. I saw the stripes. I saw the giant hat. I immediately thought Hamburglar. My ADHD would not let me stop. It came out. And, but either way, it was a human thing. Humans flounder. Humans make mistakes. Humans say things like that sometimes, right? But I think you need to earn the right to have that type of relationship with people.
Amen.
And over the hour I spent with them, I was able to earn that right. I was able to build a relationship to the point where they understood my humor and it resonated with them. And I was granted a pass when I probably shouldn't have, if we're being honest, but it was fine. And they turned into great customers. So what can you do?
That's a great story. At the end of the day, people buy from people.
That's it.
And we need to humanize the experience. Josh, this has been such a fun time.
You sure you don't want to pull the joystick back and go for another round around the city on this plane? No? All right.
What you're saying is not wheels down. It's got to be wheels up.
Pull those wheels back up. We got to go back. We forgot somebody back at the last airport. Let's go another hour.
Well,
no, I'm kidding.
Let's go another round.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Fedie, I hope you'll come back and join me sometime. And in full transparency, I am now using Sales Reach as part of my humble little sales operation, and then I'm just getting started with it. So maybe I'll have you back in 6 or 12 months, and we can talk about some of the lessons I've learned, and we can see how things are going. Josh, any final words in closing, and do you mind holding up your QR code there again?
Yeah, let's do it one more time. I was just laughing because Jason put up did you hear Hamburglar? No, I said Fab. That's good. Anyway, this is the QR code here. You want to go widescreen for me again? Then I can get this out of my face. Look at this. This looks horrible.
Let's go widescreen.
This is the QR code. If you scan this, it goes to a page that I made for anyone on this podcast. So I'll just leave it live forever and ever and ever. So if you're watching this later after it was a live stream, you can just scan this and it'll take you right there. On the page, there's just some resources that, honestly, the articles in the buyer enablement section, just read all of those. If you haven't read those before, they will help. They will. And then beyond that, there's some information about the company, obviously, and there's direct links to my calendar. So if you were sitting in on this podcast and you're thinking, you know what, this buyer enablement kind of makes sense. Maybe our reps should be doing that. Maybe our customer success team should be doing that. Whatever. Go ahead and grab time with me. I'd be thrilled to just walk you through the platform. I promise I'll give one hell of a demonstration. We try to have a lot of fun on all the demos that we do. I like to, invite everybody to the show when I do these demonstrations, right?
It's a great close, man.
Yeah, I promise we'll have a fun demonstration. And but regardless, share that page with anybody in your connection, anyone in your office. Those articles are absolute gold. But it's been an honor being on, Chris, and I'm honored that you became a customer. You embraced the platform super quickly. I think it's worth telling people on this show that page that you're looking at, those are really easy to build. Chris sent me his first page I want to say within 2 hours of you like signing on and becoming a customer.
Within 2 hours of literally getting my login.
Yeah. So Chris created an entire web page in 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, it takes about 2 minutes to make pages once you've got everything populated. So simple stuff.
And I'm going to be using Sales Reach now for my newsletter, and we may have some people who join this as a result of clicking into my page. And yes, he convinced me to get my own board. So, but I and by the way, I am never going to finish one of these LinkedIn live sessions without a QR code. I didn't get one printed, but from now on. So Josh, thank you for being here. Folks, for those of you who tuned in, thank you either live or in the recording. I do want to encourage you to go to techsalesadvisors.com if you want to learn more about the work that I do. And of course, I welcome you to follow the hashtag TechSalesAdvice. In the meantime, I will be back next week with another guest. Josh, thank you so much for being here. Good luck this year. I hope we'll see you again. To everyone else, have a good week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.